Welcome back to the lab. Leo Laporte here. We've got Kris Krug as our next guest. Chris, I'm really we've never met, but I'm thrilled to meet you. We have many friends in common. He's the president of Bright, which is a very neat company, BRYGHT.com. They do web hosting for community organizers.
That's right. We build online communities.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's based on Drupal. As you know, we're big fans of the Drupal CMS. We use it for our website. And if you want to build an online community, BRYGHT.com would be a great place to go. But that's not what we're here to talk about. There's the website. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Chris is a Vancouver fashion and editorial photographer. Really neat stuff. He is the founder of photography studio Static Photography, so he does a lot of his own content. He's contributed to many magazines. He did the South by Southwest coverage most recently, the 2006 Winter Olympics. I bet you'll be busy in 2010 here in Vancouver.
Yeah, that's right, preparing for the games.
But you're interesting because you don't necessarily use the copyright law to protect your content.
Well, that's kind of true. I use Creative Commons, which is based on copyright law.
But it's not the traditional.
It's not all
copyright.
rights. It's not all rights reserved. It's
right.
a way of giving away a license to use your creative works for some things while retaining the copyright control
right.
over it for others. So.
Right. Creative Commons was created by a guy named Larry Lessig, brilliant guy, a law professor at Stanford now, who pointed out that there really were only two choices: copyright it, preserve all rights, or not, and putting it in the public domain really didn't work. So he said, we got to make a new way to do this. What does the Creative Commons license do?
Well, as technology changes, the laws governing the technology also need to change.
And they don't keep up, do they?
That's right. You know, when flight was invented, before flight was invented, when you owned property, you owned everything below the property down to the center of the earth and everything above the property up into the sky. And you know, when airlines were invented, they needed to co-opt the space above your property for the public good. And so they took away everything above 200 feet or whatever, and they made planes allowed to fly over your property. And Creative Commons is kind of the same way. So we have these new ways to share, create content, share content, reuse and remix it. But the laws are old and archaic, and they're based around kind of old models. So Creative Commons allows you to tell people how they can and can't use your work. So my work is distributed under a attribution, non-commercial, share-alike license, which means you can use any of my work for whatever you'd like, as long as you attribute me, and as long as you distribute it under the same license, the attribution share-alike license, and as long as you don't make money off it. So you have to come back and ask me if you want to use it for a commercial work.
But that's not the only choice in Creative Commons. There's a wide range of choices.
That's right. There's several main variations. There's the attribution-only license, which you see here. There's the attribution no derivatives. This means you can use my work as long as you attribute me, but you can't reproduce it, remix it, or make it on your own. You get into the non-commercial, which is pretty explanatory.
Well, a lot of people do non-commercial because they don't want somebody to make money off of their photos, let's say, but they don't mind if you remix it as long as you're not making money off it.
It's important to be clear here, too. It's not that people can't make money off it. They can't make money off it under this license. So
without your permission.
So you can distribute the work. People have to attribute you to use it. And then if someone wants to make money off it, they need to come back to you and come up with another license for using your content.
So you use this typically for what? All your stuff? Or?
Pretty much all my stuff. I shoot video and do podcasts and video blogs. And also I have about 15,000 photos online on Flickr, fashion, music, and stuff like that. And they're all licensed under Creative Commons, share-alike, non-commercial license.
Flickr makes this very easy to do, actually.
Yep. Right in Flickr, you can choose the license that your photos have. This is a photo of a recent fashion shoot.
We should explain for people who don't know, Flickr is a photo sharing site, really great photo sharing site, owned by Yahoo now. So how do you assign a license to your photo when you upload it?
When you upload a photo, it gives you some options like as to whether or not to make the photo public or private, and it also gives you the choice of 5 or 6 different Creative Commons licenses or the all rights reserved license. Yep.
Right. You can even copyright it. You can say all rights reserved, I own the copyright.
Sure.
I, by default, do exactly what you do. Whenever I upload it to Flickr, it automatically chooses non-commercial. It means you can't use it to make money off it without my permission. Attribution means you give me credit for it. And share-alike means that you have to do the same if you make something out of my photo.
If you remix your photo into some other work of art, you have to have the same license on it that other people can remix your work and then share it as well.
That's what I do with my blog posts, my podcasts, too. I think it's a really neat way to kind of... Well, tell me, why do you do it?
I found my work being used in all sorts of interesting things that I want to be a part of because of me giving away for free in Creative Commons.
You encourage it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You don't mind that people are going to, like, steal your stuff?
No, definitely not. I mean, the more my work gets out there, the more my name gets known as a photographer, the more people want to work with me, and the more money I'll make off my art. So this
is kind of in stark opposition to what we were just talking about, which is the television networks, the movie companies, record companies who really want to hold on to everything and don't want anybody to use it in any other derivative way.
Well, that's not true. They want you to use it, but they want you to pay to use it. Pay
that's right.
high fees.
Pay a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So much so that people don't use it.
That's right.
Is that wrong? Is it better to do it your way? Is there a value judgment placed on that?
Well, this isn't my way. I'd say it's more of the internet's way. But I like this way better, and I think it's better for small guys like me. I can get all my work out there in people's hands. I've had my work used in music videos, in magazines, in paintings and works of art. Opportunities I wouldn't have if I had gone through traditional all rights reserved licensing models. Larry
Lessig makes the point that there is a societal benefit to letting creations be more free. And by not holding on so tight, society can build and create new stuff based on what's gone before.
He talks a lot about an information renaissance being created by the free sharing and remixing of creative works by artists and other content creators.
In fact, the very name Creative Commons comes from the notion of a commons. In the old days, in a town, there'd be a common area where everybody grazed their cows that was shared by everybody. And he says that's, ideas should be a commons where we all get to, delve into this pool of ideas by pulling pools
to the commons and then take from it as well.
And by pulling stuff out of the commons, you're hurting us all in a way.
If you don't put back in,
You put back in. So there are other sites like Flickr that make this easy?
Well, yeah, if you go to creativecommons.org and go to their wiki, there's this great site that has a whole bunch of portals of content.
These are all people allow you to do it?
These are all sites that collect and produce Creative Commons work. So here's Blip TV. I'll just click over to this in another window.
That's a great video uploading site.
Yeah, it's a video upload site. Yeah. Every video gets attached to it a Creative Commons attribution, non-commercial, no derivative license. So this is a youth show about pop culture and stuff, and maybe you can see or maybe not, but on the bottom
this is a great show.
On the bottom of every page it says, please feel free to copy this, share it, please attribute us back, and don't make money off it.
Yeah. You can also, if you don't have a site, you're not uploading to a site where they offer this, you can go to the Creative Commons site and build a license and then get a snippet of HTML code that you could put on your blog or put on your
on your MySpace or on anything. You could
do it for MySpace.
That's right. You could write a piece of poetry there. You could go to Creative Commons. You could grab the JavaScript or the little piece of code, HTML code, put it in your MySpace and assign a Creative Commons license to it.
Unless you think you're going to make $1 million on it by holding on tight, and I bet you're not. In fact, even the movie companies maybe not. It's a good idea to let this stuff go.
I know a lot of guys who write books, and they end up, after their book has been on the market for 6 months, they release it under a Creative Commons license, and they find their book sales skyrocket because eyeballs do equal money. The more people who see it and know your name, the more chances you will have to make money off your art.
Cory Doctorow says that happens all the time. He licenses his stuff freely.
That's right. He's a great example.
He put it on the net before it even comes out in book form, and it hasn't hurt his sales. In fact, quite the opposite.
It's quite the opposite. I think the same is about my photography as well. By getting it out there and getting it in people's hands, it's really helped it to have wide distribution and demand.
Chris, where should we go to see your photos?
You can check out my photos at staticphotography.com or at my personal blog, KrisKrug.com.
KrisKrug.com. Chris, it's great to meet you.
Great to meet you,
Keep up the good work at Bright. I think it's a wonderful site, bryght.com. And come back soon. We'd love to hear more about what you're up to. Speaking of photography, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about very high-end digital photography in just a little bit. But right now, let's get a close-up of something you might find around the lab, every day around the lab.